All right, Math 7, here we go. March 18th, day 1 of this remote learning. Today we are on 11.6. We are doing division. So again, this chapter has been going over a lot of things that we know. We knew addition, subtraction, right, our primary operations. I know division is probably the hardest of the four main operations. But again, with this chapter, we are introducing negatives. So we're not just talking about regular numbers, right? 56 divided by 2, which is that 23? I don't actually know what that is. 28. There. See, yeah, I know I know math. But we are introducing negative numbers. And as we all know, negative numbers can cancel each other out. So I mentioned this in 11.5 when we were talking about multiplication. If in your problem you have an even amount of negative numbers, right? So negative 6 divided by negative 2, right? In that instance, I have two different negative numbers. The answer is going to be positive, right? They kind of offset each other. So even if you have 18 different negative numbers and you're all divided, well, then your answer is going to be positive. I don't know why you'd have 18 different numbers that you're dividing, but that's just an example. And then if we have an odd amount of negative numbers, the answer is going to be negative. So they won't cancel each other out if it's an odd amount. Yes, something like this will come up on homework, quiz, and or test. Make sure you know this. That's why I've been here for the first 2 minutes of this video. Know this business, okay? All right. Division is the inverse operation of multiplication. Division, it's the undoing of anything multiplication. So if you're finding out what 3 times 4 is, that's 12. Right? We might need to write two division problems based on that. So we're just going to do backwards. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. And 12 divided by 3 equals 4. Right? It's the undoing of that multiplication. Pretty straightforward. Fill in the blanks to make the statement true. Again, a lot of our homework, quiz, and test is going to look something like this. If 3 times 5 equals 15, then 15 divided by 5, well, what's left there? 3. Easy money, right? Okay. Well, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Number 2, negative 3 times 5. Again, I've got only one negative number there, so the answer is going to be negative. Then, of course, negative 15 divided by 5 is going to be negative 3. Should be pretty straightforward, guys. And here's some examples. We're going to be dividing here. So this first example, it actually looks like this. Negative 27 divided by negative 9, right? I could rewrite it like a fraction. My two negative numbers are going to cancel each other out, and I'm left with positive 3. Now, again, I just wrote that positive 3 to be super expressive, to double clarify, but you don't need the positive sign. You don't need to write that. That's just for clarity's sake. Okay, so here, negative 96 divided by 12. Again, one negative, one positive. That's an odd amount of negative numbers. The answer is going to be negative. And for those of us who know our 12 times tables off the top of our head, it's negative 8. Okay? I've got a few more examples I'm just going to reveal so that way you guys can follow it out. And again, it's important to know, or rather to remember, that anything that's divided by 0, so 0 divided by, rather, anything that you divide 0 by, so 0 divided by negative, it doesn't matter. 0 can is neither positive nor negative, it's just 0. Okay. All right. Next, again, we are going to go over and stress and hammer the order of operations, guys. This is key stuff. My roommate just texted me that no one shall divide by 0. Yeah, you can't do that. I guess I need to speak quietly. Order of operations. You will see things like this. Yep, I've got 3 different operations. 1, 2, 3 different operations here. But since they're all, right, we follow the order of operations, that's gems, grouping, exponents, multiplication, division, left to right, and then addition, subtraction, left to right. So since they're all multiplication and division, I'm going to go left to right. So first off, it's negative 24 times 2. That's going to give me negative 48. Then I'm going to divide that by negative 6. Now, a negative divided by a negative is going to be positive. 48 divided by 6 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. Yes, it is absolutely. If you had divided 2 by negative 6, you would have gotten a totally different answer. It's important to follow the order. You could have noticed at the beginning that there were only two negatives. So that would have been an indicator that in the end it's going to be positive, right? An even amount of negatives is going to equal a positive. Doesn't matter how many positives you have, positives stay positive no matter what. Unless there is an odd amount of negatives, that changes everything. Okay, next one. You with me, Nicholas? All right. Teasing, of course. All right, negative 3 times 15 divided by 9. So again, I'm going to move left to right. Negative 3 times 15, negative 45, divided by 9. Now I've got an odd amount of negatives. I only have that 1 there. Negative 45 divided by 9 is going to equal negative 5. Now, a lot of people ask, Mr. Bulger, how can I tell if it's a negative number or a subtraction? Honestly, guys, they're the same thing. If it's in front of a number, it's indicating that this number is going to be decreasing the overall value. Whether you're multiplying or dividing, or if there's just a number straight in front of it and you're subtracting, the key to note is that whenever you see something like this in front of a number, it identifies, or it's kind of like a an English word, in English where you have like a non or something like that. It just kind of negates the whole thing. So you know that 45 here is negative because there's nothing in front of it that's subtracting it. All right. You will be seeing some verbal phrases. There are some word problems. We do have a quiz today. I'm going to go over that in the next video. But the sum of, whenever you see something that's the sum of, right, that means addition. So here's an example. Divide the sum of 11 and 7 by the opposite of 3. So here's a full-blown word problem. Sorry, my little arm stand my phone stand is shaking. Okay, so word problem. We know we're going to be dividing. What are we dividing? The sum of this and that. That means that we need to find the sum of this and that before we divide. So we're going to put these guys in a parentheses, 11 and 7. We're going to add them together. We're finding the sum. And then we're going to divide by, well, what does it mean by the opposite of 3? Remember, opposite just means the negative or the inverse, right? So I'm going to find the sum of 11 and 7 and divide that by the opposite of 3. The opposite is just the negative of that. 11 plus 7 is 18. 18 divided by negative 3, negative 6. For those of you who can't get enough, here's another example. Divide by the sum of -10 and -12 by 11. Okay, first off, you need to find the sum of these two and then divide by 11. When I add these two together, notice how it's a -10 plus -12. So if you have $10 in debt and you spend another $12, and you divide that by 11. I don't know why that doesn't, but it should have 11 here. Lerp, lerp. So I've got -$10 in my pocket, or rather in my bank account, and I spend another $12. So now I owe $22. -22 divided by 11 is -2. Questions, comments, please email me. Otherwise, I will be talking to you guys in the next video going over that quiz. Love you very much. Bye.